We are now joined by one of the newest members of the On3 team, Shea Dixon, the newest publisher for the Bengal Tiger On3 LSU site, now joins the show. Shea, first of all, congratulations. How you doing first day on the job?
Yeah, it's a nice thank you, JD. Glad to be on your team. It's exciting. I'm excited to be part of On3. Obviously, everyone that's been there has done a great job of getting things off the ground and already building it to where it is. So I couldn't be more thrilled to start, and this be no better time, right, to start your job than 3 days before your team plays a football game. So I'm kind of diving in head first.
Yeah, there's no ramp-up period for you covering LSU. Brian Kelly, a couple of days ago, said, hey, we have a decision in-house on the quarterback. We're not going to announce it. I want to start with this. How surprised would you be if they don't trot out Jayden Daniels for that first series in New Orleans?
Very surprised. And am I surprised that he didn't say anything, JD? No. I mean, well, he doesn't have to. And you can really only play this card once, right? I mean, you're not going to be able to play this game all season if I'm not telling the other team who the starter is. It's going to be obvious after who you pick in game one. But with Jayden Daniels, look, the competition is between Jayden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier, and they've called it a very close race. Garrett Nussmeier is a redshirt freshman who played in a handful of games as a backup last year. You brought in Jayden Daniels. Brian Kelly specifically brought in Jayden Daniels. He's got 29 starts under his belt. He's passed for more than 6,000 yards in college, and your opener isn't against Little Sisters of the Poor in Tiger Stadium. You're going on the road to Florida State in the Superdome. Brian Kelly, without saying who the starter is, has talked about the importance of walkthrough on game day and, getting used to the bright lights. And he's talked about when Jayden's in there, the offense is calm. So I think all signs clearly point to them trotting out, maybe not wire to wire, nobody's saying that, but for game one, it would be a big surprise if it wasn't Jayden Daniels.
And it feels like everybody surrounding the college football landscape kind of has that pulse that, hey, it's probably going to be Jayden Daniels. I wanted to ask you this. What is the tactical advantage that Brian Kelly's talking about? How much of an advantage is it for him to kind of hold his cards until that first series?
I'm not sure how big of an advantage it is or isn't. I mean, obviously LSU knows good and well who Florida State's starting quarterback is. They've got plenty of film on him. I think more so than anything, he's allowing this to kind of play out quietly across the week. There isn't stories being written nonstop about Jayden Daniels as a starter. What does it mean for Garrett Nussmeier? All of that. You get to just kind of go into the first game, and it does leave Florida State guessing a little. But remember this, JD, Florida State and this Mike Norvell team have faced Brian Kelly in multiple recent openers, week 2, week 3 games with that Notre Dame FSU matchup. They've got Mike Denbrock, the OC. They've seen plenty of film there from Cincinnati. I think the bigger wild card than even keeping the secret quarterback discussion going for a few days longer is the DC, Matt House for LSU. He's been in the NFL for a number of years, and Mike Norvell talked about this week having to go dig up old Kentucky film to watch of what kind of defenses he might want to run. LSU hadn't played a game. They didn't put any week 0 film out there, even if it was against Duquesne. And I think that's the advantage, is that LSU does have one side of the ball where Florida State doesn't really know what's going on there.
And when it comes to both these quarterbacks, Nussmeier and Daniels, it feels like you don't really have a wrong answer, right? But when you land on who your starter is going to be, how much of that is dictated by what LSU already has on offense? I mean, brand new offensive line. Wouldn't it hurt to have a guy who's more mobile like Jayden Daniels? How much of it is just quarterback mano-a-mano versus, again, what they have offensively at LSU today?
I think when you look, JD, this is me, and I think my opinion here has some merit to it. You don't just have a new head coach. You have 9 of 10 on-field staffers are new. Both coordinators are new. The strength coach for the first time in 3 decades is new. The nutritionist is new. You took more transfers than any other team in college football. I think there's just a sense of, hey, if we put Jayden Daniels out there to start, he can calm things down. He's played plenty of football. He gets it. So in that sense, I think that going into game one, playing a neutral site opener against Florida State, it gives them a little bit more sense of calm, and I think that's one reason to go with Jayden Daniels. Another is they likely won't have John Emery for this game. It looks like he's going to be sitting on a 2-game suspension. I thought all along LSU could beat Florida State by playing really good defense and letting John Emery, a former 5-star, run the football. You don't have him now. So maybe Jayden brings you something with his legs. Maybe he's just able to operate that offense a little more calmly, whatever it might be. But I think those are sort of the reasons you're pointing towards that. I don't think we're looking at some massive playbook change. And Brian Kelly said it on Monday. He had a sheet of paper and he said, we don't flip over, the play call sheet, and we're on Nussmeier's side now. They're going to run the same offense. They don't have to do a whole lot of wholesale changes there. It's just small tweaks on what guys can do. And in this case, I think the tweaks are just you're choosing likely a veteran in Jayden Daniels.
And I'm glad you said that about John Emery. He's a guy who I am really excited to see tote the rock once he gets back on the field for LSU. But when it comes to the starter for game one, is this a scenario where you see, okay, game one quarterback is, let's just say it's Jayden Daniels. Hey, it's your job, it's your offense, or is it we're going to ride with you game one and we'll kind of let Garrett Nussmeier get some burn as well throughout the season and, we're going to play the hot hand?
Yeah, look, a lot of A&Ms of the world, other teams have a few tune-up games, right? And Florida State hadn't lit the world on fire in recent years, but neither has LSU. That's why they're in this position that they're in. So I think that this will be Jayden Daniels' game against Florida State. But in week 2, they play Southern back here in Baton Rouge, a game LSU should win comfortably before they play Mississippi State. I think that's a prime opportunity to get your for the guy that all the way through fall camp you said is neck and neck with Jayden Daniels. If you're choosing him to be the starter, you've got to get Garrett Nussmeier some run in that Southern game. So do I think he'll go wire to wire as starter? I just think it depends on how he plays and certainly if LSU's winning or not and if they hit any sort of losing skid where all of a sudden you think that a starting quarterback change can maybe spark your team in a certain way. But I would look more towards that week 2 game of saying, get them both out there, see how they look, especially if they win this game and Jayden Daniels looks formidable.
Well, Shea, the beautiful thing about it, we will finally get to see these teams play on the field and get to actually watching football instead of talking about football. But Shea, welcome to the team. Fired up you're here, brother, and enjoy your college football Saturday. We'll do this again soon. Hey, y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.